I noticed the chairs before I noticed the cake. They had been pushed closer together on one side of the table, leaving the other end open, like a quiet warning. I took the far seat anyway, the one with a wobble in its back leg, because I've learned not to fix small things in rooms that prefer their stories left intact. My birthday had become a ritual, one where everyone knew their cues. My mother hummed softly while cutting fruit. My sister reminded her son not to touch the frosting yet, the word yet carrying more promise than threat. My father was already irritated, performing his irritation like a service, proof that he still cared enough to be disappointed. I smiled when I arrived. It felt proper. It felt trained. The cake was chocolate, which meant someone remembered, or at least remembered once. It sat on the table like an offering to a god who might or might not appear. When the candles were lit, there was a pause longer than a breath where no one knew who should start singing. I clapped once. That usually works. My nephew climbed onto his chair with the confidence of someone who had never been corrected in a way that stuck. He stared at the flames, fascinated, then bored. First, he nudged the table leg. Nothing happened. Then he kicked the cake. It slid slow enough to hope, fast enough to shatter it. Frosting collapsed, candles tipped, chocolate smeared the white tablecloth my mother only used for special occasions. "You're worthless," my father said. My nephew shouted, delighted by the sound. He looked around, waiting for laughter. It came from my father. Not loud, just a short bark of surprise, a reflex untrained out. My sister covered her mouth with 2 fingers, a half-smile trapped there. My mother didn't look at me. She looked at the cake. "Ignore him," she said, already gathering napkins. "He's just honest." Honest. The word settled in the room like dust. Everyone accepted it, as if it explained something essential. I smiled, stood, and said, "I'll head out." My voice sounded even to me, which felt like a small success. No one stopped me. No one asked if I was okay. My father told my nephew to apologize to the tablecloth. Outside, the air was cooler than I expected. I sat in my car, waiting for my hands to stop shaking before turning the key. I drove without music. The silence pressed gently against me, like a hand on my shoulder that knew exactly where it belonged. At home, I placed my phone face down on the counter. I washed the smell of frosting from my hands. I noticed how tired I felt, not from the insult, but from the ease with which it fit so naturally into place. There's a particular exhaustion that comes from realizing you've been carrying a story for other people and they never notice its weight. An hour later, the text arrived, "We're done with you." No punctuation. It read like a summary, something decided long ago and only now written down. A minute later, my sister liked it. I sank to the floor, back against the cabinet, letting the cool seep through my shirt. I didn't cry. That surprised me. Instead, I thought about the years I'd spent being useful, how usefulness had been mistaken for love, and how love had only been offered while convenient. I thought about the accounts. It sounds worse than it is, or better. A few years back, after a long hospital scare, my father asked me to set things up properly. I work in systems. I know how to make bills pay themselves, keep everything visible and backed up. Permissions were granted, safeguards installed. I had done it carefully, professionally, the way you do something when you don't expect gratitude, but still want it done right. I hadn't touched any of it since. Not because I couldn't, but because I didn't need to. I picked up my phone. I reread the text once. I typed, erased, typed again. Perfect timing. I just froze your accounts. No lecture. No explanation. I sent it and placed the phone back on the counter, face down. The first call came 10 minutes later, then another, then a stream of notifications I didn't open. I made tea and drank it too hot. I sat at the table where the cake should have been, feeling my breathing slow. This is the part people imagine as triumph. It wasn't. It was procedural. I logged in, confirmed identities, followed steps I knew by heart. Temporary holds, reversible, documented, the kind of thing institutions do quietly, without raising their voice. By midnight, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. My mother left a voicemail that began and ended with my name, as if repeating it might summon the version of me she preferred. My sister sent paragraphs that collapsed into a single idea: "You've gone too far." My father said nothing. His silence was louder than the rest. I didn't answer. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. I thought about the word honest and how often it's used as a substitute for kind. I thought about power, not always loud, sometimes quiet. Sometimes it's simply letting systems do what they're designed to do when trust breaks. In the morning, more messages arrived. Bank notifications, emails from third parties confirming receipt of my documentation. Authority arrived quietly, in fonts, timestamps, and phrases like effective immediately. I answered one call, my mother's, not my father's or sister's. "I don't understand why you do this," she said. I could hear the kitchen in the background, mugs clinking, the child in the room deciding what was acceptable. "I'm not punishing anyone," I said. "I'm stepping back." "You're tearing the family apart," she said. I closed my eyes. "No," I said. I stopped holding it together. She didn't reply. We sat in quiet, connected by a line that had always expected me to carry more than it ever did. When we hung up, I felt lighter and heavier at once. Loss doesn't vanish because it's deserved. Relief doesn't erase grief. They coexist, awkward roommates in the same house. By afternoon, the calls slowed. Messages grew cautious. The systems remained paused. Forms needed signatures. Processes had to be followed. None of it irreversible. All of it demanded something missing for years: acknowledgement. I went for a walk. The city moved around me, indifferent, alive. I passed a bakery window and saw a cake, chocolate, thick frosting. I laughed, a short sound that surprised me. Discovering your worth isn't a speech. It isn't a confrontation ending in applause. It's a series of small decisions to stop betraying yourself for the sake of harmony. It's realizing that loyalty, when it becomes transactional, isn't loyalty. It's a job you were never paid for. That night, my phone was silent. I slept deeply, not happy.